So if a man is in a position where he is emotionally entangled with his mother and therefore has a tendency to focus on her needs and to be there for her, and ends up typically overlooking his own needs and his own life as a result, he is not going to live a life that is deeply fulfilling. Because in order for him to do this, he will need to start being there for himself and to implement boundaries with his mother, to make it clear that he is not here for her, he is here to live his own life. But in order for him to do that, he would need to become aware of what is going on. And there is a chance that he won't even realize that he is out of balance. And so being there for his mother will just be what is normal. And so in order for him to wake up, so to speak, he may need to get into a relationship, or he may need to have a breakup or a breakdown, or to experience something significant that will wake him up. And if he is in a relationship, his partner may try to get through to him and to make it clear that he is not here to focus on his mother and to neglect himself. Because of course, if he is overly focused on his mother, she is also likely to be neglected as well. So he will neglect her, he will neglect himself, but he certainly won't neglect his mother. And over time, she may be able to get through to him and for him to accept that he needs to stop leaning towards his mother. He needs to center himself, he needs to tune into his own needs, and he needs to be there more for his partner. And if he was able to see that this is the case, and this could take a little while for him to recognize that he is out of balance, because there can be a lot of resistance in the beginning, but over time, through him being able to recognize this, he can see that although intellectually he wants to draw the line with his mother, emotionally he feels the pull to be there for her. And so he is going to be experiencing a lot of inner conflict. And so right now he will be behaving as though he is nothing more than an extension of his mother, and his whole life can practically revolve around his mother. And so her needs will be his needs, and who he is will be greatly watered down until this changes. And so in a way he will be trapped or stuck in his mother's world, and he will just be someone who is there for her because he won't have much of a life himself. And if he was to think about breaking away and implementing his boundaries with his mother and living his own life, so living a life that is worth living, he could end up becoming very uncomfortable. And it could be as though he will be abandoned and his life will come to an end. And if during his early years his mother used him to meet some of her adult and unmet childhood needs, this would have meant that he would not have received what he needed in order to grow and develop. And so he would have experienced a physical birth, but he would not have experienced an emotional birth. And he would have experienced an emotional birth if his mother was there for him, if she gave him what he needed to grow and develop. And he then would have formed a strong sense of self, would have stayed connected to his true self, and so he would have gradually gone through each of the developmental stages and ended up becoming a strong and capable man, with the help of his father, of course. But as this didn't happen and he was used by his mother, he would have often been neglected and abandoned, and so he would have not only not received what he needed, he would have also experienced a lot of trauma. And so now when it comes to breaking away from his mother because he didn't receive what he needed in order to break away right at the beginning, it will now seem as though his life will come to an end. But the pain that is triggered when he thinks about breaking away from his mother will be pain that relates to what has already happened. And so he will have already been abandoned, he will have already been punished, rejected, all these things. But in order to handle this pain, because he couldn't run away or he couldn't change his mother's behaviour, because of course he had to adapt. This pain would have been repressed. And as this was repressed, he gradually would have become more and more estranged from himself. And so now that he tries to break away, this pain will be unlocked. And once again, it will seem as though he will die. But as I've said, this would have already happened and he will have survived. And so in order for him to step out of his mother's world and to be in his own reality, a reality where he is in his power, is emotionally strong, and is able to live a life that is worth living, he will need to work through these emotional wounds. And through doing this, and there's likely to be many, many, many layers of this pain, because most likely he was neglected and abandoned many, many, many times throughout his early years. And so as he works through this pain, he will be able to see that he can be an individual, he can live his own life, and he can not only survive, but he can thrive. And so if you're a man and you can relate to this, you can see that you have been trapped in your mother's world. Now that you are starting to break away, or to think about breaking away, all this pain is coming up, then please know that you survived what took place. And this pain relates to what you had to repress many, many, many decades ago, perhaps. And through reaching out for external support from a therapist or a healer and working through this pain, you will gradually be able to experience an emotional birth, to step into your power, to be emotionally strong, and to live a life that is worth living. So if you can relate to this, please don't suffer in silence and reach out for the assistance that you need to gradually change your life. To find out more about the services that I offer and how I can assist you on your journey, go to www.oliverjrcooper.co.uk or email me at info@oliverjrcooper.co.uk. I'm looking forward to assisting you on your journey.